It is 2004, in Game 4 of the American League Championship Series game. The Yankees are playing the Red Sox. The Yankees won the first 3 games. They're in the 4th game, 9th inning. The Red Sox come up to bat, tie it up. The game goes into extra innings. The Red Sox end up winning the game. It's 3-1. You have to win 4 games in this division series to go on to the World Series. They go on to the next game. It goes into 14 innings. If you don't know baseball, a game goes to 9. So they drag it out to 14 innings, and the Red Sox end up winning their 2nd game in a row. They go into Game 6. Red Sox win. Suddenly, it's 3 games to 3, all tied up. Goes into the last game. Game 7. Red Sox absolutely dominate the Yankees and put them in their place. They go on to win the World Series, 4-0 against the Cardinals, winning 8 games straight. So what does this have to do with this video that I'm putting out today? Momentum. We're talking about momentum, people. They were down and out. They were down 0 games to 3. Basically, no shot in hell. No one has ever come back from a 0-3 in a championship series game like that and came back to win the series and win 4 games straight. So they're the only team to be able to do that. But they started with 1 game at a time. So after they won that first game, there was a spark. They got a little confidence. They went into that 2nd game and they dragged it out and pushed it into 14 innings and won that. Got a little more confidence. Suddenly, the gap's shrinking. And there's only those last 2 games for them to play. And they go in and end up winning both of those a little bit easier. So their momentum was building, and then they went in and won the World Series without losing a game. They won every single game, and they were the champions that year. Now I hate using this example because I'm a Yankees fan, but it helps me kind of show what momentum is all about. I want to go into like 4 little segments here today and talk about how you can push through when you're having some struggles, you're feeling stuck, maybe you're feeling a little overwhelmed, maybe you're a perfectionist and you think that every little detail has to be perfect and it's keeping you from being able to get where you want to go. But the first thing I want to dive into is laying the foundation. You need to know what you want to accomplish, why you want to accomplish it, and those two go hand in hand, where your why, the reasoning behind what you're doing or what you want to accomplish, needs to be strong enough to drive and motivate you. And if you're not motivated to win, this game will swallow you up no matter what you're doing, because there's so many people out there that are driven and hungry. If you're not at least as hungry as them or hungrier, the goal is to be hungrier, at least in my case, you're going to have a damn hard time being able to make it where you want to go. So come in hungry and do what you got to do to be motivated. Figure out why you want to get to point B from point A and go all in. See, if you don't have that what, you don't know where you're going, you're lost. Think about it if you have a map. There's a destination point, okay, you can see that, and then there's a way to get there. If you don't have the destination point, how do you know where you're going? It's like jumping into the car, you know, if you gotta go get gas, you know you're going to the gas station. If you know you're about to drive to your friend's house, you're going to your friend's house. But if you jump in your car, you don't have a destination, you kind of just drive around aimlessly, not accomplishing anything. The same goes with being able to envision and know exactly what you want to get in the end. So the goals that you set are kind of checkpoints along the way. You leave point A, you have this destination that you're going to, which is very important, because when you look at the whole scheme of things, it's very overwhelming to see the end and how much you want to accomplish if you're an optimistic person and you're like, how the hell am I going to get here? Right? You have to have action tasks and milestones and things that you can kind of climb up like it's a set of stairs to make sure that you get to that end point, or else it might consume you and that it'll freeze you up. Once you get overwhelmed, you won't be able to take action and get where you want to go. It's really only a dream or an idea if you don't put a deadline on it and get to work. 2, get started. Just get started. A lot of what needs to get done is you showing up. If you never show up, how are you ever going to get anything done? It's like, for me, my fitness goals and what I want out of a healthier lifestyle is I need to go to the gym 5 days a week. It has to be part of my lifestyle for me to accomplish my fitness goals. I don't want to go to the gym every day that I have planned to go to the gym, but I gotta show up and get my ass there anyway. Even if you work out and you don't have the best workout of your life, you know, you kind of like drag ass through it, but you're still getting shit done. You're still better leaving the gym than when you got there. And it adds to your mental toughness because you end up doing something that you didn't really want to do. You're framing that mindset that you take action even when you don't want to do something. It's like that one big thing you have to do. It's the elephant in the room. Instead of doing that, you go and do all these little things and make these little excuses as to why that you're not doing that one big thing. You kind of put it off. Well, screw that. Go do that thing. Get that thing done. You know how much better you'll feel once you get that done? Although you don't want to do it, it is a huge weight off of your shoulders, and it's way more productive to get that thing done than to screw off and do these other little things and pretend that you're being productive but you're only being busy. It's like when I was in college, I used to go to the library and I would have a big project due. I would put it off, of course. For another day, procrastination, but I would get in, I would fidget with my phone, and I might look on a website real quick and, look at some baseball scores and pick a playlist and get my music going, and I would try to avoid it. I would do these little things that bought me more time. But once you get started, you start building that momentum. It's like, at least I got to the library. Okay, I'm starting slow. So I get there and I'm fidgety and doing whatever, and I finally put my headphones in and start doing what I have to do, whether I'm online researching and then writing my paper. But once you start, the research is the first step, and I'm building my momentum. Suddenly I'm typing and I'm getting ideas, and my paper's coming together, and it builds and builds, and suddenly it's a couple hours later and you're done. It's like, well, where'd the time go? But all that momentum built up, and just getting there and showing up to the library was the biggest thing, because if I never did that, I would have probably been sitting home watching TV or whatever. So you have to start somewhere. Wherever that may be, whether it's you just getting into the gym or getting into the library or getting to work or getting to that place that you're avoiding, you need to just start somewhere and get there. Pick the low-hanging fruit. That's another thing. The low-hanging fruit it's like things you already know how to do, things that you can get done quickly. Once you start doing that and checking things off a list, you start building that momentum and that feeling of accomplishment, and it motivates you to keep going. If you watched my other video when I told my story, it's like I was down low and I had nothing going. Like after I got fired and I was dealing with my alcohol problem and everything that was going on at that time, I suddenly snapped out of it and I started doing the little things that I already knew that I could do. Like I started journaling, planning my days, seeing how I could fill them up with productive things that I could get done. I started researching certain things online, and I started taking steps to get out of that rut that I was in. If I would have never started doing those little things that I already knew that I knew how to do, it wasn't rocket science, it was just me doing what I had to do to start building positive momentum out of that hole. So you can use that with anything that you need to do. It's very important to build that positive momentum in the right direction. So 2, focus on what matters most. Make a list, and at the top of the page, write, is what I'm spending time on moving me towards my goals? On the left, write yes. On the right, write no. Everything in the yes column is what you need to focus on. If it is helping you move towards your goals, that's what you need to do. If it's no, get rid of it. Stop doing it, spend less time on it, whatever you have to do. But those are the things that you need to stop focusing on and completely go all in on the left side of the paper. And if you come across something that is a gray area, more than likely it's probably on the no side. If you have to sit there and think about whether it's helping you or not, I would say chances are that it's not. So start that list, get that made up, and really dial in on what you need to be doing, not what you want to be doing. There's things that you kind of convince yourself that you want to do, that you think is helping you progress or helping your business or whatever situation it is, but it's kind of your brain just convincing you that, and it's really not true. But it is very black and white. What matters and what doesn't. It's yes or no. That's it. So something that ties into this is the 80-20 rule. 20% of what you do produces 80% of the results. So the 20% is going to be that yes list. You need to focus on that 20% and get those 80% of the result. And think about the other 80% of stuff that you do only produces 20% of the results. So why would you even want to bother with that kind of stuff? Just do the stuff that moves the needle, the stuff that helps you grow, the stuff that makes your business go to the next level, the stuff that makes your relationship go to the next level, the stuff that is going to change your life, change your family's life. Those are the things that you need to focus on. One of the guys I study, Brandon Burchard, he taught me the done by one mentality. So if the day ended at 1 o'clock every day, 1 p.m., that's the only amount of time that you had, what would you focus on? What are the most important things that you would get done? Like, you don't have all that extra time after 1 o'clock to get stuff done. You only have that small chunk of time. What are you gonna do? What is the most important things that you would get done? So you met your deadlines, so you moved the needle in your life, so you earned that extra money, so you made your boss happy, so whatever it is, what would that little bit be? And if you can go into your days with that mentality and figure out what's most important, then you have the rest of your day to deal with the stuff that doesn't really move the needle, like answering emails. It's all of your reactive stuff. Your proactive stuff will be in the morning and your reactive stuff is in the evening. So like I just said, answering emails, taking phone calls of people that want to get a hold of you, whatever it is, you're a firefighter because you have so many problems that you got to put out all the fires, but you wait, you put those out later. Focus on what's most important and get your stuff done. And for all of you overthinkers out there, perfectionists, do not get analysis paralysis, which is when you overthink something so much that you freeze up, it paralyzes you, and you don't end up making any decisions or getting anything done. That happens to so many people, and I'm sure so many of you can relate. I mean, it's happened to me, I promise you. If you can do what I said earlier and focus on that yes list, rather than focusing on what color your brand logoing is and what fonts you're using for this and that and the unimportant stuff that doesn't make you any money, things would go a lot smoother and you'd be a lot more productive, trust me. I mean, I've done all of this. I know that with me, I'm creating my own brand here. So I worry about all of that stuff because it's a representation of me. But if you sit and actually consciously think about it, you'll realize that that kind of stuff does not matter. That just because you color something green instead of blue isn't gonna make you an extra $100 or anything. So I don't believe that there's any reason why we should sit there and think about stuff like that. So if you're someone that does that, just let go and do what matters most. Do the needle moving activities. Don't worry about this extra crap. It's just an excuse. Trust me. It's your brain stopping you from doing something that scares you. Our brain tries to keep us from doing stuff that scares us or you're unsure about. And you're trying to go all in on this idea and it's still trying to hold you back and keep you in the safe zone. Don't listen to it. I promise you, if you can figure that out, you'll be so much more happier and productive. And lastly, number 4, one bite at a time. Have you ever heard the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If you don't understand why that's even a saying, the elephant's so big, it's so overwhelming to eat. But if you just take it one little piece at a time, you'll eventually get there where the elephant is completely eaten. Think about how we talked about the map earlier and getting where you need to go to your destination. If you use GPS, which we all do, think about how it gets you to that destination, one turn at a time. You might be driving across country and it's thousands of miles to get there, but you still get there one turn at a time. So sit back and vividly envision your biggest goal being accomplished. And then when you come back from that, I'm sure it feels good, right? You're like, I see myself accomplishing this, it's done. And then, alright, I'm ready to get to work. It motivates you. So you're like, shit, how the hell am I gonna get there? Once it comes down to taking action and getting it done, you're like, oh, I had this great vision that I'm gonna get to this goal, and it's completely overwhelming because we all have these big goals that we want to accomplish, but it isn't that easy. So what do? You break it down. You break it down into smaller steps and smaller steps and smaller steps until the steps are small enough that you can get started and start accomplishing them. Think about how you learn something, learn a topic. Math, for example. You don't start at calculus, you don't start at geometry, you don't even start at algebra. You start at addition and subtraction, you learn the numbers, and then you learn addition and subtraction. And then you go to the next step, and then you go to the next step. You can't start doing algebra, geometry, and all of that without knowing the fundamentals or the basics. Think about if you're a baby, right? So you're a kid, you're born. You lay around and you cry a lot. kind of like what you do when you feel overwhelmed and you can't get anything done. And then you go to crawling. Then you start standing. You're holding on to stuff. It's tough. You know, you still need that support. And then you move to walking. Suddenly you're walking around by yourself. Every time your parents turn around, you disappeared into the next room, you know? So think about it that way. It's like the evolution and the growth of humans. It's everything that we do, it's step by step. It's growth. It's like, it's learning, it's knowledge. Nothing ever happened overnight. None of the sports players or anybody famous that you ever seen knew how to do what they do out of the womb or as a kid. So take whatever it is that you're trying to do and break it down into smaller bite-sized chunks, and you will start gaining momentum, going from one to the next, to the next, to the next, and building, climbing those stairs like I said a little bit earlier. Hopefully this helps you get started with something that you've been stuck with. And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, let's have a chat. Comment below. I will gladly get back to you. I will gladly reach out. We can schedule a time to get together and have a conversation. I'll try to help you get through whatever you need to get through. But let's talk about it. So as always, subscribe and hit that little notification bell. The next time that I come out with a video like this, you can benefit from it. Just remember, the only way to live is doing what you love. Until next time, guys, take care.